after you complete the tasks from today, you'll be halfway done with our Back to Homeschool planning series. So, congratulations ahead of time. If you are new here, go back and check out the previous videos if you want, or you can just hop in now. Each week, I'm just giving some short little tasks to not plan your year entirely, but help you get there. Help you break down the big tasks into smaller bite-sized ones now during the summer when we've got a little more pockets of time, so that when you're ready to really dig into your planning, you got a big head start. As always, I start out with sharing my updates so that I can be accountable to you. If you want to jump ahead to the tasks, the timestamp will be down in the down bar. First one, which is my big one, was getting some field trips on paper. You'll remember that I said, let's just brainstorm some and then write down some dates. Where you're going may change, when you're going may change, but if you have them on there, you're more likely to get them done. So I planned 2 for the fall, which are to 2 different Native American sites in the area. One is a site, one's a museum. And then in the spring, we will do 2 science ones. The Native American ones, we're doing U.S. history this year, so they'll go along with that. And then in the spring, we will do 2 science ones. Matthew is doing physics this year for studies, so we're going to do a planetarium and science center. And then Ben is doing studying plants this year. So we will go to an arboretum in the spring for him. And I do have the dates, but obviously I'm not going to tell you because I don't really want to broadcast that to the entire world. So you'll just have to wait and find out when we went. Now, let's get into our tasks for the week. We are focusing the most amount of our time on our mom life tasks. So the other ones will be shorter, but our mom life ones, we're going to tackle a couple big things. The first one, what's for lunch? Kids, they want to know what's for lunch. And I am the type of mom who, in my ideal world, would make lunch every day or most days of the week. Like a real lunch, real. Cooked lunch, not just like peanut butter sandwich type things. But I'm not that kind of mom. And I'm done feeling guilty for not being that kind of mom. But since it is something that I want to happen, I, at the beginning of every school year, like to pick out a handful of meals. I make the list, and then I also include a shopping list for each of those. Put it with whatever you do your meal planning with, put it there. That way, each week, every other week, whatever your goal is, you pull out one of those cards, plan the meal, you'll have the ingredients quickly, and I make sure that if it's something that needs any extra prep time, or I need to start it ahead of lunchtime, I write that down on the card too. Index cards are a great option for this. Also, if your kids are 4th grade-ish or so and up, when you're making a list of these, think about which ones that you could train them to be able to do so that later in the year, you can do more cooked meals because they're doing the cooked meals. The other task is about those projects around the home that we put off. Some of you are really great about keeping up on those during the school year. Some of us, not so much. I'm that kind of mom. That's who I am. And while I'm always striving to be better, I also accept that that's not me, so that during the summer when I have the time, I try to tackle them more. Not directly related to this, but one thing I do in my homeschool planner, I have a sheet where I jot down ideas so that as I'm going through the school year, if I find myself with a little time to do something and I want to tackle a project, I have a list of all those ones that I think about. Otherwise, come summer, I have a list ready and I try to plug one a week. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but I'm not forgetting about it. So the school year, do the same thing. But now, I want you to think about a few projects that you still have time to accomplish this summer and that you can accomplish this summer. Or how much of that project can you accomplish this summer? Let's make a list. You can brainstorm a huge list, or a big list if you want, realizing that you're not going to. Now, you may have lots of ideas, but let's be realistic. If you write down a list of 15 projects, you may not get to them all. And for me, if I see a bunch of lists that I didn't get, or a bunch of projects I didn't get done, then that's what I'm going to focus on rather than what I did get done. So use your judgment based on how you are. But let's make a list of a few projects that you can get done and that you're able to get done still. And then we're going to make a plan for when you're going to do them. Again, like the field trips, they may change. What you do might change, when you do them might change, but getting them down on paper or on your digital calendar, whatever you use, is going to keep them in the forefront of your mind. So a couple of my projects that I'm going to do. One, I want to make a large batch of several seasonings that we use throughout the year. I'm going to try to remember to do a video on this when I do it. But I like to have things like a big jar of taco seasoning. I do a big jar of it because we use them for a lot of lunches as well. My kids enjoy tacos for lunch, so we'll do a lot of taco salads and that kind of thing. Cajun seasoning, my family really likes Cajun chicken, and then I have a yellow rice thing that I make with it. They really love that. So I make a big batch of that. My fajita, I keep a jar of fajita seasoning, and I just noticed I'm almost out of that. I also want to go through our games closet. Last summer, we went through our bookshelves, our homeschool bookshelves, and did a big clean out. Now I want to go through our closet. Our closet that we have is small, and a lot of stuff we have, or we've had for many years now. So I need to get out that stuff so that we have room for other things that are more age appropriate. And one other thing that I need to do is go through my dresser and my closet. I'm going to mark about an hour off and just go through stuff. I'm not a big clothes person, but since we haven't moved like we usually do, we usually move about every 2 years, I've accumulated stuff that I normally would have gone through as we prepared for a move. So I just want to go through my dressers, go through my sock drawers and throw out the ones with holes and that sort of thing, pajamas that I don't wear anymore, and just straighten things up, wipe out my cabinet or drawers, fold, make sure things are neat, and same with my closet. All of those things will set me up well for the school year as far as getting rid of the curriculum that's in my way, making sure that clothes are easy to find and I can get into quick changes because I'm not great in my mornings and I need to work on autopilot, and food, because food to me is something that is important, but I don't always do well at that trip. I do usually do pretty well with dinner because I keep those things on hand, like my batch seasonings. So I want to continue to set myself up well for dinners. Now, the other things. Curriculum list, curriculum task, we're going to work on our reading lists for the school year. Whether you create individual ones for each of your kiddos, or things to read aloud, audiobooks for the car, podcasts for the car. Start making a list. If your curriculum gives you all of those reading list items, fantastic. If you need to order any of them, start looking. If you're just going to need them to get them from the library, great. No, that's fine. You can just, knowing that you have them, knowing that you're ready is great. If you need some ideas of where else to look for book lists, I am doing the same series over on my blog so these come out on Tuesdays, on the Saturday before it goes up on my blog. And over there I have some resources on where I always check for reading list ideas. You can go over there and check that out. And then 2 quick things for miscellaneous tasks. One is getting some dates into your calendar. Again, I keep saying this. They may change. That's fine. But let's make some decisions. When is your first day of school? When does that put your last day of school? Christmas break, some kind of a fall break, something for the spring, something that I've done if you're looking for an idea, a different way to do it in the spring. In the past, some years, instead of taking off a full week, I'll take like every Friday in April off, or every Friday in March off. And so we're still getting the same amount of time off, but to me, it feels more fun to have a 3-day weekend than a full week off. The other one is to think about what online subscription or what subscriptions you need. Are there magazines that you want to subscribe to this year? If so, go ahead and find the subscriptions and get them started. Sometimes it can take several weeks, 4, 6, 8 weeks for your first issue to come. So if you can get it subscribed now, then you'll be ready. If you need to renew for teaching textbooks or CTC, great courses, something online, do that. If you already have an active subscription online somewhere, double check when the renewal date is, as well as your credit card information. Just make sure that all of that stuff is up to date. If you need to subscribe to something online, but you don't want to do it yet since it's still beginning of July, mark down sometime in your calendar when you will subscribe, and I would give yourself a week or so before your school. That way you have time to explore it yourself if it's new. You have time to make sure everything gets set up well, that there are no issues. Go ahead and just get your subscriptions ready, whatever they are. And I will see you next week.